ESPN is celebrating 25 years of covering the FCS championship. We come to you from Frisco, Texas. The #1 seed and two-time defending champ North Dakota State goes for a three-peat against the Towson Tigers, who are seeking their first ever FCS championship. The Bison looking to join Appalachian State as the only schools to win 3 consecutive FCS championships. It's a pro-Bison crowd here in Frisco. A lot of these folks purchased their tickets for this game, at least the North Dakota State fans did, before the season even started.
I don't know whether they call that experience or extreme confidence, but either way, they were exactly right. Their team is here to win potentially their 3rd national championship in a row.
The flags are blowing. It is a bit of a windy day here in Frisco. DJ Chauvin to kick it off, and we are underway in the FCS championship. John Crockett lets it bounce out of the end zone. North Dakota State gets it at its own 25-yard line, and there is Brock Jensen, number 16, the winningest quarterback in FCS history. He's won 2 straight championships and was the MVP of the FCS championship game a year ago.
And you really can't get more seasoned and tested as Brock Jensen is. 2 national championships, got beat in a heartbreaking quarterfinal game his freshman year, so they're very, very good at that position.
Two tight ends on first down. You'll see a lot of that from both teams. Ryan Smith gets the call. Little jet sweep there, and Smith out of bounds at the 41-yard line. It's a first down, a gain of 16. Smith injured his hamstring in the semifinal win, proclaimed good to go today.
Yeah, and he looks very good on this, and this is really a tendency breaker. We're talking about a power run game downhill, and they give it to Ryan Smith on the fly sweep, and that certainly tested his hamstring, and it looked really good on that play.
And now we've got our first flag of the game.
He was covered up.
False start. Offense number 46, lined up in the neutral zone. 5 yards, still first down.
That's Andrew Bonnet, the backup fullback. Jeff Flanagan, our referee, part of a Big South officiating crew. North Dakota State comes in with 23 straight wins. This is a team that opened the season with a win against Kansas State, who at the time was the defending Big 12 champ. This time they fake the fly sweep. Jensen throws to Bonnet, and he's upended by Donnell Lewis, the strong safety. It's a gain of 3.
Donnell Lewis does a very good job coming up from his strong safety position and making a very good tackle. That's what head coach Ambrose told us last night when we talked with him, is they have to do a much better job of tackling today than they did a couple of weeks ago against Eastern Washington.
Towson without one of its starting corners, Jordan Love, the Georgia transfer, a first-team all-conference selection, suspended for this game. It's an NCAA suspension. First carry of the game for Sam Ojuri, who's run for 1,000 yards in 3 straight seasons, and he's driven back Drew Sharipko and Lewis on the tackle, and it's 3rd and long for North Dakota State.
And that's really the trademark of Towson defensively, is they want to penetrate the line of scrimmage. They have a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of sacks. They create a lot of negative plays, and it's exactly what they did on that play. Against that power run game, you have to get on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage.
North Dakota State tops in the nation in 3rd down conversions. 56%. Jensen on 3rd and long has a receiver open. And it's ruled incomplete. Kerry Woods, the target, could not come down with it. 4th down.
Towson is playing a single high safety, and it left man-to-man on the outside. Very well thrown, but Kerry Woods just doesn't collect the ball initially. He bats it around. It really doesn't have possession, and they're exactly right. That was tremendously well called on the field.
Woods, a redshirt freshman from Bemidji, Minnesota, and that's a ball he's got to catch. Ben LeCompte on to punt it away for North Dakota State. Brian Dowling lets it bounce. And the Bison able to down it inside the 10-yard line. When we come back, we get our first look at the Towson offense and their record-setting running back.
Towson, yes, we got it.
That is Shrav Kelly, Stauffer, Kara Capuano, the FCS championship game. North Dakota State 3 and out on its opening drive. We'll see Towson and Terrence West, and the season West has had has been incredible. He set the FCS single season record for rushing yards and total touchdowns. Compare it to what Barry Sanders did at the FBS level. Sanders' 88 season is really considered the gold standard, the best season ever for a running back. West has a chance to catch Sanders with 218 yards rushing. And listen, that's going to be hard to do against the #1 rushing defense, but he had 354 against Eastern Illinois in the quarterfinals.
I know this, when you get on any graphic that mentions you and Barry Sanders in the same words, you're in good company.
There was a holding penalty on the back end of the punt, so Towson backed up inside its own 5. They'll give it to West. And West just gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe got a yard, 2nd and 9. Peter Athens getting the start at quarterback for Towson. Injured his shoulder in the semifinal win against Eastern Washington. He did not play in the second half. Towson head coach Rob Ambrose told us Athens good to go. He's been practicing. He still feels some pain, but it's tolerable and he can play through it.
And his play in the playoffs has been one of the reasons the team is here today. He has taken care of the football in the pass game.
Here's West, and there is a flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, 69 offense, half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
That's on Shane Sullivan.
We talked about Peter Athens. His last 4 games during this playoff run, 74% completion rate, 6 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And he was throwing some interceptions during the season. He's gotten much better with that in this playoff run.
His efficiency, a big reason the Tigers are playing for a title. The old Maryland eye here on 2nd and 12. And West gets across the 5-yard line, picks up 4. Let's see how both teams are planning for success. That's brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Well, since they're somewhat mirror images of one another, they want to dominate the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. The turnover battle is going to be key. Towson tends to put the ball on the ground when they're carrying it. Red zones, you don't settle for field goals. You need to finish with touchdowns.
Towson on third downs this season, third nationally, 50%. Darius Victor into the game at running back. Athens' pass caught by Derek Joseph. And he moves the chains for the Tigers, a gain of 11.
Very well thrown. You can see Joseph just coming inside and sitting down in that window. Doing a very good job of not going through that opportunity right there in the throw. The clean pocket. Remember, Anish, up front, this is a grizzled veteran group. 4 seniors that have started well over 160 games in their career.
And now more penalty markers.
Substitution violation. The offense broke the huddle with 12. 5 yards, still first down.
Towson has been better at reducing the penalties in the postseason, but in the regular season, they led the Colonial. They were the most penalized team in the Colonial. That's something you can't do if you're going to beat the 2-time defending champs.
Yeah, if you're going to become national champions, you have to be more buttoned up in that penalty area that we talked about. You also have to secure the football.
Handoff to Victor, and he's met by a phalanx of yellow shirts. A short gain, it'll bring up second down and long. One thing to mention, Kelly, we told you on the defensive side, Towson without Jordan Love serving an NCAA suspension. On the offensive side, James Obo, the starting tight end, also suspended by the NCAA for this game. So that means Sean Mooney is getting his first start at tight end, number 87 for Towson. He does not have a reception this season. Obo was a threat in the passing game. They really don't have a threat in the passing game from the tight end position without Obo. That's Victor lowering his shoulders, and he gets to the 20-yard line. It'll bring up third down. Terrence West still on the sideline.
And this is fairly usual, a usual substitution pattern for Towson. Darius Victor comes in, and he's the same body type. He's just 3 inches shorter. They're both about 220 pounds. Very physical downhill runners that have the potential to bounce it for a big play as well.
Connor Frazier, who's also the backup quarterback and doubles as a wide receiver, checks into the game as a wideout. 5-wide look for the Tigers. Athens throws for Joseph, incomplete, fourth down.
Well, Joseph was inside from that slot position, runs the corner, matched up man-to-man on linebacker Travis Back. Exactly what Peter Athens wanted at the quarterback position, and that ball was affected by the wind. The wind is coming out of on your screen from right to left, and the wind drove that football into the ground.
Jake Ryder on to punt it away. This is an area where North Dakota State has an advantage, a decisive one in this game, special teams. You saw Ben LeCompte able to flip the field after the Bison went 3 and out. Jake Ryder now on to punt it away for the Tigers. He just gets it off. Ryan Smith from his own 36. And Smith taken down at the 45-yard line. So good starting field position for the Bison on their second drive. A 44-yard punt, a 10-yard return. You're watching the NCAA FCS Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. ESPN celebrating 25 years of covering the FCS Championship. North Dakota State, the #1 seed against the 7 seed, the Towson Tigers. The Tigers this postseason have beaten the 2 seed and the 3 seed. This is the first time North Dakota State is facing a seeded team this postseason. And you look down on the field already with 8:23 to go in the first quarter. This field is getting torn up.
And really, it seems to be the middle of the field, and these teams aren't spread teams that are going to throw it all over the place, but they do like to take the running game downhill and then bounce it to the outside. I think that's going to be difficult. The footing where you have to plant your foot and try to get laterally to get more yards. I think that's where it's going to come into play. I mean, look at that turf is just being torn up. You can see right there, it's very soft, kind of a sandy base. Not very good footing at all.
For two teams, as you mentioned, that like to run the ball, all of a sudden the field has become a variable. John Crockett in the game at running back, coming off a career-high 195 yards rushing in the semifinal win against New Hampshire. Here is Crockett, up the gut, breaks free. John Crockett finally tripped up as he gets inside the 25-yard line, down to the 21, a gain of 33.
Well, this is the downside of pressing the line of scrimmage. Look at the green grass right there, because they want to get extra defenders in the box. If you don't make the play at the line of scrimmage, there isn't a safety there to make a tackle. You want to crowd the box and get extra hats in there, but you better make sure you make the tackle in those first couple of yards, or it's going to give up a big one.
Touchdown saving tackle by Julian Kelly Lee. Smith flashes in motion. Three-step drop. Jensen finds Ryan Smith in the flat, and Smith stood up along that far sideline. He's going to be just shy of a first down. It's a gain of 9.
And Anish, that's what you're going to see out of North Dakota State. It's a power run game. They establish that, and then it's this really methodical play-action passing game out of that. Is somewhat of a maintenance type of a pass game, but also they'll play action and try to get vertical on you as well. You can see right here the pro style using a fullback in Grothman right there.
Grothman, the All-American fullback, paving the way, and that's Crockett, who takes it to the 11-yard line. It's a gain of 7. First and goal now for the Bison.
And watch, the fullback is going to lead. We've lost track of what a fullback is for, but typically when a fullback is in the game, the running game is going wherever number 40 goes in this case. Very good use of the fullback on that play.
2 tight ends and a fullback on first and goal. Crockett tries the middle, spins off a couple of defenders, and then turned back by John Desir after a gain of 2.
The running game is very much like the pass game. It takes kind of a feeling out process. Those offensive linemen need to sort the lookout up front, and typically the second drive, those big guys start to make adjustments. They take better angles, and we can see it on this drive. North Dakota State finding a lot more running room in their run game.
The Bison spread it out here on second and goal. Watch for the quarterback draw. Jensen can run. And Jensen will run. He just gets back to the line of scrimmage, but there is a flag.
Yeah, the face mask flag is going to come in late, and I think Dallaire, that defensive end, with his left hand grabbed the face mask, but you called it exactly right. Empty.
Run, personal foul, face mask, number 56 in defense. Carries half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. He carries an automatic first down.
You know, Anish, empty deep in the red zone means quarterback draw, and it was actually Farmer that time. I said it was Dallaire, but Farmer, the defensive tackle, just reaches up with that big left mitt and gets a face mask of the quarterback.
So the Bison have a first and goal inside the 3. Jumbo set. Here's Crockett. Up the middle. Pushes his way into the end zone. And the Bison strike first.
This is all about mass right here. We'll see if Crockett gets in. I don't know how we're going to be able to see anything on any video replay in that massive humanity, but 2 fullbacks, 2 tight ends, and it's just a matter of getting more poundage at the point of attack than the defense has the ability to get there.
It was a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Again, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn a call. If the play stands, it would be John Crockett's 11th rushing touchdown of the season. And where's the ball when he goes down? The knee is down there. Is that indisputable? Can you tell if the ball was over the goal, the plane of the goal line?
Another thing you have to factor in is that camera looks like it's right on the goal line, but we can't really see anything. That other angle wasn't exactly on the goal line, and that's right. The standard is the indisputable video evidence, and I'm not so sure we saw anything that's going to overturn it. Typically, we'll hear it's going to let the play stand as called because they don't have video evidence one direction or the other.
If you watched the Orange Bowl game last night, play down near the goal line, and the official up in the booth essentially said it's got to pop out at you. It's got to jump out at you to overturn the call.
Ruling on the field stands. There's a touchdown.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. I heard that as well in the game last night, and it has to jump out at you. If there isn't anything that really catches my attention, typically the play's just going to stand as called.
So it's a touchdown for Crockett and the 2-time defending champs with a 6-0 lead. Point after by Adam Keller is good. 5 plays, 54 yards in 2 minutes and 49 seconds, punctuated by the Crockett TD. A John Crockett touchdown has given North Dakota State a 7-0 lead on Towson here at Toyota Stadium, the home of FC Dallas of Major League Soccer. Frisco, Texas, a site of the FCS championship game, as the Bison fans know it. Fargo South. They traveled en masse to this game. There's Brian Dowling from inside his own 10 for Towson. And Dowling gets across the 20-yard line to about the 23. Rogers Redding is the national coordinator of football officials. He's with us in the booth today. Rogers, that last touchdown, it went to further review. The play on the field stood. What did you make of it?
Well, that's right. I mean, on a close play like that where you want to take a look to make sure that he scored. But in fact, you can see on the replay here, there's a mass of bodies in there. You really can't tell where the ball is. That's why the default position is that the field, call on the field is right. And it's one of those things, if you don't know, then you know. In other words, if you don't know that it's not good or it is good, then you got to let the call on the field stand. So that was the right call.
Peter Athens to throw on first down. The ball is deflected and knocked incomplete. Cole Jurek got his hands on it. 2nd down and 10.
Cole Jurek at 6'5", 250 pounds, is one of the defensive ends, has a really nice pass rush, and he's kind of the anchor out there, captain of the football team. Opposite him is the explosive, dynamic pass rusher, Kyle Emanuel. Very good bookends for this North Dakota State defense.
A great matchup in the trenches. An experienced O-line against an experienced and seasoned D-line. Terrence West gets the call, and that is vintage West. He'll take the first hit and get yards after contact.
Yeah, he runs as well as any running back in a long while behind his pads. Go ahead and take a look. The point of attack, as long as you allow that guy to get downhill in a hurry, you can see the movement one way. He presses the line of scrimmage and tucks in behind his double team with the center and the guard, or the guard and the tackle, and then he gets north and south. Very efficient runner.
3 tight end look, and one of the tight ends is defensive tackle John Desir. West, it appears, is going to be marked just shy of the first down marker, and that's going to bring up 4th and short.
This is going to be a really interesting early decision for head coach Ambrose right there. I mean, you have really the prototypical way to pick up a short yardage situation, the best running back probably in the country at doing just that. But remember who North Dakota State is defensively. They simply don't give up much anywhere.
The Bison trumpet the #1 rushing defense in the nation. And Towson is short, so it'll bring up 4th down. And right now the offense is still on the field. This is a Tiger team that's gone for it 32 times on 4th down and converted 72% of those 4th down chances. Athens will try to sneak it. And he gets the push from that seasoned O-line we talked about for the 1st down.
And that's the other thing about this run game. We can talk a lot about Terrence West, and he deserves every word of it, but a veteran offensive line, 4 seniors and a freshman, and the continuity up front on the offensive line is king up there. Second to probably only the quarterback position, and they're as seasoned as you can get up front.
Left tackle Eric Pike is an All-American. The center and the right tackle, both all-conference selections. Maryland I on 1st and 10. And Terrence West gobbled up after a short gain. 2nd down. West, in the quarterfinal game against Eastern Illinois, ran for 354 yards and 5 touchdowns. The 354 yards, an FCS playoff record. We watched that game
crazy
and called it in Charleston, Illinois, about as great a performance as you'll see from a running back, and conditions that day far from ideal.
Yeah, he was the 4-wheel drive, right? And that's exactly what
that
they
was
needed.
In the snow.
That was an impressive outing to watch.
Play action. Athens out of the backfield. He's got his fullback, Emmanuel Holder, across the 45, and a 1st down for Holder, who had a touchdown catch in the win against Eastern Washington. And now a penalty marker.
We saw that play-action passing game out of Towson as they've gotten that running game more established.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 48 on the offense. The penalty is 15 yards from the succeeding spot. It results in a 1st and 10.
That was Dreon Johnson, and another fullback in there. Remember, with James Obo out of the game, suspended for this outing, they're using their fullbacks as tight ends as well.
Right in front of the official. And another penalty.
Prior to snap, false start, 57 offense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
And Anish, Towson is not a team that can get behind schedule. They have to stay on schedule in order to get the most out of that run game.
6 penalties already for the Tigers. And while this is technically a neutral site game,
Not
you look
so
around,
much.
It's mostly North Dakota State fans, but this Towson team, road warriors, 9-0 on the road this season, 12 straight road wins overall. Athens will try to run for it across the 30, using the stiff arm, and then finally thrown out of bounds after a gain of 4. Remember, Athens suffered a shoulder injury, sprained the AC joint in his right shoulder in the semifinal win against Eastern Washington.
Nathan is very good in the pocket, but look at that footing. When he bounces and tries to plant his right foot and get outside, it was tenuous at best. He got the most out of that, but that's where you see it. Between the hashes, this field is absolutely getting torn up. Between that, excuse me, I'll show it next time, but between here and here, the footing is not very good.
Athens throws, caught by Dowling, who's coming off a solid game in the semifinal, 88 yards receiving against Eastern Washington. Let's go down to Kara.
Guys, I talked to Nick Schaefer, the Vice President of Field Operations here at Toyota Stadium. They laid some sod in mid-November in preparation for the game, but at the end of November, the area had an ice storm. As a result, the roots really couldn't take hold for the grass. You'll see the major issues are coming primarily between the hashes, but they have a dedicated divot crew that runs out at the break to try to make it a little bit more smooth, but it's tough out here right now for this field.
On 3rd down, there's Dowling. He's got a 1st down. Slips a tackle. Brian Dowling across the 30 and finally driven out of bounds. And now a flag at the end of the play, could be a late hit.
Well, as Towson's driving the football, North Dakota State wants to try to create a negative play, and so they actually brought the corner off of that side, and Peter Athens reads it extremely well and gets the ball out
quickly. The player was out of bounds. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 69 defense. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
The corner comes off the slot, and Peter Athens gets the ball out, and everybody thought that he was out of bounds, and Dowling continues up the field. That's very tough for a defender to lay up on that. You don't know whether he was called out of bounds or not. You don't hear the whistle down on the field.
Peter Athens split wide. Connor Frazier into the game at quarterback. Frazier running left side and tripped up as he gets across the 10. It was Frazier who scored the game-winning touchdown against Eastern Washington with 17 seconds to go and played the entire second half at quarterback when Athens got hurt.
Let's take a look at that throw to Dowling a little bit earlier. You're going to get a corner blitz right there, and this defender is late getting over to help. A very good job of recognizing it by the quarterback, throwing it accurately, and giving Brian Dowling room to get up the field. Very good recognition by Towson on that play.
Frazier with the toss. That's West, and he's inside the 5-yard line, a gain of 5. This is Terrence West territory. 40 rushing touchdowns, 41 total touchdowns. He scored a touchdown in every game this season, and actually, there's only one game where he's had only one touchdown. He's had at least 2 in the rest.
Yeah, they really have the ultimate drive finisher. It's the opposite of what spread teams face down here when the field is condensed. Sometimes those spread teams have a hard time finishing. This team usually finishes really well.
3rd and 2. Final ticks of the first quarter. Holder in motion. Here's West into the end zone. And Towson a point after from pulling even.
Well, this is all about power football. Lead with the big offensive lineman Anthony Davis, the fullback, and then number 28 runs behind his pads. Carlton Littlejohn came up and put the wood to him, but you better wrap up, and you also better be committed when you try to tackle number 28 right there.
West has that uncanny ability of being his own blocker quite often.
Yeah, no doubt.
The point after is good. We've played a quarter here in Frisco in the FCS championship. Towson and North Dakota State even at 7. North Dakota State's road to Frisco has been an easy one in large part. In their 3 playoff games, the Bison have outscored all their opponents by at least 31 points. For Towson, different story. In the quarterfinals in the snow in Charleston, Illinois, they rallied from 14-0 down behind Terrence West, who set an FCS record with 354 rushing yards. And then in the semis, the Inferno in Cheney, Washington against Eastern Washington, the Tigers trailed by 10 with less than 6 minutes to play, and it was backup quarterback Connor Frazier who played the entire second half, rallying Towson for an improbable win. And here are the Tigers, battle-tested, resilient, and they're here in large part because of number 28, Terrence West.
Yeah, and the head coach, Ambrose, talked to us about that. The word for his team is belief. And I think they hoped early in the playoffs that they could get somewhere, but now they believe they deserve to be here, and they believe they can win this game. That was an important first quarter. They're typically slow starting in the first quarter. Second quarter, they outscore their opponents 3-1. Very important start for them.
John Crockett is going to run this one out. He's got a rushing touchdown already, and he takes it to about the 23-yard line. Monday it is the BCS championship game. Number 1 and undefeated Florida State against Auburn. The Tigers, the kick 6 win against Alabama, the win against Missouri in the SEC championship game, knocking off Georgia on a Hail Mary. And you know, you look at total QBR since about week 8, Nick Marshall actually number 1 in the country in terms of total QBR.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Sam Ojuri gets the call on first down, and he picks up a couple to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8.
You know, Anish, the second quarter typically is the quarter of adjustments. And we saw the offenses look much better on their second drives as opposed to their first drives. The offensive run game is very much like the passing game. The more a quarterback and receivers see coverage, the better they adapt to it. Same thing on the offensive line of scrimmage. The more they see the front 7, those guys get lathered up front, you get more out of your run game.
Flea flicker. Jensen downfield. Incomplete, intended for Zach Fraw.
That was one of those get you plays, and they didn't get anyone. Watch, 1, 2, 3 guys very disciplined on the back end. You see the flea flicker, it's a one-man route, maximum protection, and in the end, that one man is triple covered. Very good discipline on the back end.
Jensen did throw an interception early in the game against New Hampshire that was returned by a touchdown. Bison trailed briefly in that game before rattling off 52 unanswered. Jensen dumps it down low to Ojuri, who makes the catch inside the 30-yard line, well short of the first down. So 4th down coming up, and a good hold by this Towson defense.
And Towson is doing a very good job of really just covering on the back end like they want to cover. Rob Ambrose right there is very excited about the way his defense just performed. They're kind of a keep it in front of you type of defense. Worked well on that drive for them.
North Dakota State has allowed opponents to return just 7 punts all season, the longest being 5 yards. This one bounces and then falls dead at about the 32-yard line. A 40-yard punt, no return. Towson with the ball, 13:20 to go in the half. You're watching the NCAA FCS Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. ESPN celebrating 25 years of covering the FCS Championship. Towson and North Dakota State tied at 7. Towson head coach Rob Ambrose had a great quote earlier during the week. He referred to North Dakota State as the Ivan Drago of FCS football. He said they're perfect. He said their program is perfect. You can't find any holes. And I think the subliminal message there is that his Towson team is Rocky, because Rocky took down Drago. He better hope Towson is not Apollo Creed. It didn't end so well for Apollo in Rocky IV. Here's Terrence West. And West stopped back at the line of scrimmage. Good job by that North Dakota State defensive line. Tigers 13-2 this season. The 13 wins are a school record. Opened the year with an impressive win against an FBS school in UConn in the championship game for the first time, and Terrence West has been outstanding. West nearly fumbled, still able to recover and then gain about another 2-3 yards after that. It'll bring up 3rd down.
The other impressive thing about Towson is this is their 10th road game. They've won their
technically a neutral site game, but for all intents and purposes,
look around you and see
a
the
road
green
game.
And yellow, but they've won 9 times on the road already because less distractions. Rob Ambrose talked about that, but a massive physical run game travels really well.
Tigers 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Movement up front on that left side of the line.
False start. 71 offense, 5 yards, still third down.
A rare mistake by the All-American left tackle Eric Pike.
And we were in the Fargo Dome 2 weeks ago for the semifinal game, and this crowd looks like we're in the Fargo Dome. And they are very loud when the opposition has the football. They sit on their hands when their offense is on the field, but it was loud on that snap.
Athens throws across his body, nearly picked off. Dangerous throw in the direction of North Dakota State's All-American cornerback Marcus Williams.
Peter Athens got tagged on that play as well. You talked about it. Watch him. He gets outside the pocket, avoids a little pressure, and then right at the very end, Perry just unloads on him. And remember, he's a little dinged up. His right shoulder took a pounding a couple of weeks ago at Eastern Washington, and he got up on that play, but that was a tremendous hit.
Ryan Smith, the deep man for North Dakota State. Now watch this one bounce, and it goes out of bounds. That's a 49-yard punt. Good punt by Towson. North Dakota State gets it back. 11:28 to go, first half. That was the scene earlier during the regular season when Game Day visited Fargo. And what it did, it essentially made North Dakota State the face of FCS football. And it speaks to the job that Craig Bohl has done in building this program, seeing the transition from Division II to the FCS to now where they are, the face of 1AA, the FCS.
Yeah, they really are the gold standard at this level. There's no doubt about that. And going for their third national championship in 3 years, obviously, that's a sign of really, really good things.
Play action on first down. Jensen completes underneath. That's John Crockett. Makes a man miss. And Crockett tackled at the 29-yard line. A game of 8. It's almost 1,100 miles from Fargo, North Dakota to Frisco, Texas. What you're seeing there is the Bison tracker. A lot of the North Dakota State fans have an app. They use it to light up their phone when it's dark before the Bison come out on the field at the Fargo Dome for home games. But there's also a GPS sync. You can check in and it lets other fans know where the Bison herd is congregated. And as you saw with that graph, they were migrating southward.
False start, 85 offense, 5 yards, still second down.
The red areas there are airports, so the Bison tracker was tracking the movement of the herd south about 1,100 miles. Minneapolis, that's that red spot kind of to the right of your screen,
right?
Yeah.
DFW on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's not a hurricane.
No.
They finally arrived at this game.
En masse, they've taken over Frisco. And that might be a delay of game.
Delay of game, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Let's check in with Kara.
There was an initial allotment of tickets that sold out within a half hour to this game in August, you guys. And then a lot of fans from North Dakota invested in a 3-year ticket plan to lock in their opportunity to possibly watch the Bison's third straight attempt at an FCS title.
August, Kelly, August. Jensen will keep it here on second down, tripped up right at the 20-yard line. Nice tackle there by the Virginia Tech transfer, Telvin Clark, who leads this Towson defense in tackles, 140 plus on the season.
Yeah, Telvin Clark on one side, and in the middle, Monte Gaddis as well, and they have well over 200 tackles between them. And Towson does a very good job of occupying defenders on the line of scrimmage and freeing up their linebackers to run free. You saw it on that play.
Derek Lang into the game on third down and 9. Jensen with time, throws too high, incomplete, intended target Trevor Gebhardt, and it's 4th down. So North Dakota State 0 for 3 now on 3rd downs. They came in leading the country, converting 56% of their 3rd down chances.
And they really got off schedule because of the 2 penalties. And then Towson does a very good job defensively. What they do is they kind of play a catch defense. They keep the ball in front of them, read routes, and then break on the football. They are very, very efficient at playing coverage on the back end that way.
Chance for Towson to get some good field position here. Dowling's going to try to return this one. Only the 8th punt returned against North Dakota State. And a solid return by Dowling, who brings it near midfield. Towson has it at its own 49-yard line. Sunday on ESPN, Arkansas State, Ball State, the Go Daddy Bowl. It comes your way at 9 Eastern. Bowl season winding down as we get ready for Monday's game between Florida State and Auburn in the BCS championship game. And Arkansas State's had a pretty good track record of coaches. Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, now the head coach at Boise State. Terrence West plows forward into Bison territory. Give him 4, 2nd and 6.
North Dakota State runs a 4-3 defense, and they have a nose tackle and a 3 technique inside at their defensive tackle positions that really have to do a good job of not only securing that first level, but when the ball bounces outside, those 2 guys really have to turn and chase the ball as well.
Play action. Athens is caught by the true freshman Andre Dessenberg, and that's good for a Towson 1st down.
And Anish, when you run it well, you obviously can then go to play action passing, and it's not just effective down the field, but play action passing typically translates into really good pass protection as well, because defenders are stepping up to run and then rallying out of there to the pass coverage. Very well protected that time.
Both tailbacks into the game, West and Darius Victor, the freshman. That's West in motion. Athens off his back foot, and it goes out of bounds, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Brian Schatz, number 61, got the late pressure on Peter Athens and actually kept Athens in the pocket. Athens is very good at diagnosing pressure and then subtly moving out of the pocket and being effective outside there. Athens off to a relatively slow start in the pass game, 5 of 9 for 75 yards. Remember, he's coming off that shoulder injury. I didn't see any ill effects, but that's not a very good start.
Play clock winding down.
There is no foul on the play.
Look to me.
Please reset the game clock to 7:44, please. 7:44.
So a bit of a clock issue, 7:44 to go, 1st half. Towson driving. This Tiger team has been an underdog the last couple of weeks.
Please reset the game clock to 7:44, please.
And when we talked to Coach Rob Ambrose last night, they relish the role of us against the world, if you will.
It has worked really well for them. You're exactly right. I think this team is made up of guys that really have responded well to that scenario.
On 2nd and 10, here's West. The 3rd guy that touched him brought him down. It's a gain of 6, 3rd down and 4. North Dakota State so far has done a pretty good job on Terrence West. 11 carries, 38 yards, but West is a guy we've seen he gets stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, that offensive line just kind of leans on the defensive front over the course of time, and it's Terrence West just getting downhill, and the punishment of that, sometimes it's the third and fourth quarter where it really pays dividends.
Here's West, and he picks up a first down for Towson. Again, that ability to take the initial hit and keep moving forward.
Yeah, yards after contact is certainly one of the characteristics that separates really good to great running backs from the rest of them. And he gets behind his pads, and he's so efficient at finding the softness initially, Anish, at the point of attack. He gets the most out of pretty much every run.
Look at time of possession. A lot of times, it's really not an important stat. Both these teams value it greatly. Athens flushed. Chased by Perry. And he throws it away. 2nd and 10.
Nice decision. They were wanting to get out to the quick passing game to the left, and North Dakota State rolled coverage to that side and pressed him at the line of scrimmage. Nothing was there. Throw the ball away. That was a very good decision by Athens.
Ryan Drevlo, rather, on the quarterback hurry. It's a Towson offensive line that's one of the best in the nation. 4 seniors, 3 all-conference linemen. On 2nd and 10, Darius Victor slips after a gain of just 3. Rather a loss of 3, and it's 3rd down coming up, and that was the field coming into play there.
Yeah, Victor's trying to get outside behind the center, Doug Shaw, and you can see right there, his right foot slips, his left foot gets caught in the turf, and then he goes down. And look at that, it's going from bad to worse as we speak.
The crew here during the commercial breaks, stoppages in play, trying to patch this field up as best they can. 4-man rush. Athens on the run. And that's caught underneath by Connor Frazier. Well short of the first down marker. So 4th down coming up. Towson really does not have a reliable kicking game. Drew Evangelista and DJ Sovin handle the field goals. Evangelista just 5 of 12 on the season, but this is going to be Sovin to attempt a 41-yarder. He usually attempts the longer field goals. Kick is up and it's blocked. That's a live ball, scooped up by North Dakota State. Kyle Emanuel takes it all the way down to the 5-yard line.
I think the pressure's going to come from right there. Might be Hegel jumping through number 20 right there. Very good job of getting skinny and getting through that wall, and watch the footing. A little bit of slippage by that plant foot. I don't know that it really contributed because that penetration was quick and decisive, but that plant was not very solid.
Ryan Smith, touchdown, Bison. Off the top of the broadcast, Cara Capuano told us both coaches were saying this could be a game that comes down to a couple of plays either way, and she mentioned special teams being a potential game changer. We told you early on, North Dakota State with a decisive advantage in the special teams department against Towson. And that Tiger kicking game, which has been unreliable this season. A blocked field goal. Kyle Emanuel picks it up, brings it down to the 5, and then Ryan Smith runs it in.
Colton Hegel gets pressure initially, and then Emanuel takes it to the house. That may be the decisiveness. Special teams turnovers, first big play goes to North Dakota State.
For a full recap of all fall football championships, visit NCAA.com. You can also get up to speed with previews and the latest news on the upcoming winter championships. Log on to NCAA.com. Anish Shroff, Kelly Stauffer, Kara Capuano. A blocked field goal leads to a short field for North Dakota State. Ryan Smith with a touchdown run, and the Bison, despite just 91 yards of total offense, their offense has been held in check. Credit Towson's defense in this game, but a special teams miscue has given North Dakota State the lead as the wind blows the ball off the tee.
Well, Colton Hegel is right here. You're going to get blocking out that direction and blocking out this direction, and he basically just steps over and gets to the ball. Wasn't very well communicated up front. To some extent, North Dakota State was overloaded to that side. Very well designed, and they certainly finished the play well.
Derek Joseph and Brian Dowling deep for Towson. This one bounces. It's picked up by Joseph. He's returned 2 kicks for his score this season and tackled at the 26-yard line. Let's go to the studio. We check in with Chris Cotter. All right, thank you, Chris. 4:38 left here in this first half. Towson driving last time before the blocked field goal turned into points for North Dakota State. Terrence West, little shake and bake. West breaks the tackle, bullies his way to the 45-yard line, a gain of 19.
Well, the power game for Towson is getting rolling. You're going to see a guard pull to the left there. The fullback leads up. 57, Charles Johnson pulls around, and 28 doesn't need a lot of room, but there you saw the nifty feet. He runs behind his pads and his physical, but he can make you miss just like that.
Out of the Maryland eye. Grant Olson the stop after a gain of 4 by West. Olson isn't going to play much today. He's coming off a torn ACL that he actually suffered during the season. Came back for a few snaps against New Hampshire in the semifinals. He is the heart and soul of this Bison defense, the inspirational leader.
And with that ACL, they hope he can just play downfield.
That's Darius Victor. And Victor with a gain of 5, close to a first down. Tackled again by Olson. Victor was the freshman of the year in the Colonial.
And Olson from that middle linebacker position, defensive coordinator Chris Kleiman said that they hope they can just get some downhill snaps out of him. When you can defend the downhill power game in the tackle box, typically the ACL is not an issue. It's when you have to plant and get side to side that it comes into play.
3 tight end look on 3rd and short. Here's Victor. And I think he may have got it with the second effort. He did. First down, Towson, as we come up on 3 minutes to play.
You have to be committed when you come up to tackle either one of these running backs. This is Darius Victor, and right there, I mean, very seldom does a guy go down. That was Travis Beck, 52, that Chris Kleiman said is probably the best tackler on that team. That was big boy football on that play.
Play action. Athens to the air. Intercepted by C.J. Smith. Smith still on his feet. Sheds a tackle across midfield. And Smith finally dropped inside the 45-yard line of Towson A 32-yard return.
C.J. Smith is matched up on Dowling, number 29. It's all about the release. Very good job with his hands. And then C.J. Smith finishes the play. A lot of times, if you just simply get hands on a receiver, at the very least you impede their progress. But to finish that play, C.J. Smith turned into a receiver. That was tremendous on the other end.
These two teams were playing to a stalemate up until the last few minutes, and the pendulum is swung in favor of the Bison. Ojuri across the 40-yard line to the 39, a gain of 4. You know, for the first quarter and most of the second quarter, Towson was executing its game plan pretty well. Converting third downs, moving the ball, keeping North Dakota State off the field, and that's all turned in the last 3-4 minutes.
You're exactly right. And head coach Rob Ambrose told us that the separation could be special teams and turnovers, and that's exactly what we've seen on the last couple of plays.
Jensen's pass, incomplete.
When two teams play very much like one another, a powerful run game, they covet time of possession, they play well defensively, especially on third down and in the red zone. Rob Ambrose told us, we said, well, what's the separation between these two teams? He said, you have to be good on special teams and you have to take care of the ball. Those two things fall into North Dakota State's category.
The Bison have yet to convert on third down, despite being number 1 in the FCS in that category. They're going to get one here. That's the tight end, Kevin Vodland, a gain of 9, and it momentarily stops the clock with 1:44 to go. Both teams have all 3 timeouts.
And Towson just simply dropped coverage that particular play. Vodland goes out in the flat and just cues back inside, and he was completely uncovered.
Ty Smith creeping toward the defensive line. Could be a corner blitz here. Watch 24. It is a corner blitz. Jensen gets rid of it. Little screen. Ojuri spins away. And he's inside the 20-yard line to about the 17, and a timeout by North Dakota State with 1:10 to go. A gain of 18 by Sam Ojuri. The Bison threatening late in the first half.
North Dakota State, first charge, timeout.
It's been an evenly played game, or at least it was for most of the first half, but in the last few minutes, the momentum is swung. North Dakota State used a blocked field goal. That set up a touchdown run from Ryan Smith, and now the Bison driving after a C.J. Smith interception in the red zone, 1st down and 10. Jensen looking for the end zone. Touchdown, North Dakota State, Zach Braw.
The play action pass in the backfield invites the inside coverage up, and then Vraw does a very good job of beating Ty Smith inside and getting over top of that linebacker, and then the accurately thrown pass by Brock Jensen.
Vraw's 15th touchdown reception of the season. That's a school record. I was just about to mention we hadn't been calling Zach Vraw's name, hadn't been targeted a lot. He's their top receiver. And he makes his presence felt with 1:05 to go in the first half. So 14 unanswered by North Dakota State. The Bison with a 2-score lead. Although for Towson, this is familiar territory. They've been used to coming back in these playoffs.
And this was all set up by C.J. Smith, making a great play, not allowing Dowling to get off the line of scrimmage, but then the finish, the ball skill at the end. That was a tremendous play, and it leads to the touchdown. The play action pass in the backfield. Vraw runs a slant route inside, beats the underneath coverage, which was actually Ryan Dallaire, the rush guy for Towson, and then the over the top coverage. Very well designed, but you're exactly right. This game turned really on the couple of things that we thought may make a difference. Special teams, the blocked field goal, and then the turnovers.
Towson quarterback Peter Athens had been so good protecting the ball this postseason. Hadn't thrown an interception. He had lost one fumble, but no interceptions in the postseason. After that was a bit of an issue during the regular season, and the one he throws in the title game here in the first half leads directly to a Bison score. Still 1:05 to go in the first half, and the Tigers have all 3 of their timeouts. Brian Dowling, the UMass transfer, sheds a tackler, and he brings it out to about the 34-yard line, a 22-yard return. A lot of ways to watch Monday's BCS championship game. We call it BCS MegaCast. You can watch the game on ESPN Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. ESPN2 will have BCS Title Talk. Our analysts will break down the game with celebrity guests. On ESPN News, BCS Film Room, and then ESPN Classic. You can hear the sideline sounds of the game. Athens over the middle. That's Dessenberg. And he's down at the 41-yard line, a gain of 7 yards. Clock still running. Tigers have all 3 of their timeouts. Athens near side. That's caught by Dessenberg, short of the first down. And the Tigers don't elect to call a timeout here.
Yeah, it's not a first down, and so the clock isn't going to stop. Peter Athens is talking about killing it, but it's going to be a moot point.
Athens under pressure. Down he goes. Sacked by Cole Jurek, and it's 4th down.
Very poor clock management. You have 3 timeouts left. You catch the football in bounds, and you don't get a first down.
Timeout.
You have to burn a timeout then.
First charge. Timeout. Timeout will be 30 seconds.
See the pressure right there by Jurek. One of the only times that Peter Athens has really been under pressure very quickly, but Rob Ambrose inexplicably doesn't use the timeout to play before.
On either of the previous 2 plays, and now a timeout on 4th and 8 with 11 seconds to go. Not sure what that does, but these were the 2 plays that really turned this game. A blocked field goal. Kyle Emanuel picks it up. Colton Eagle blocked it. North Dakota State gets it at its own 5. Ryan Smith runs it in for a score. And then C.J. Smith, his 3rd pick of the year. That sets up a touchdown pass from Brock Jensen to Zach Vraw. And in the punting game, too, against Eastern Washington, there was a shank punt. So, in that last situation, I'm not sure if the smart play was maybe just letting clock run out and going into halftime.
I totally agree. Why call timeout and punt the football?
Ryan Smith will let it bounce. And that punt will take us to halftime, a 53-yard punt to close the first half. North Dakota State struck first. Towson answered with Terrence West. And then a couple of touchdowns, one off of a blocked field goal, one off of an interception. And the Bison with a 21-7 lead after 30 minutes of play. Let's go down to Kara Capuano.
You told us 1 or 2 plays was going to make the difference. How do the Bison maintain the momentum they created with special teams and defense?
Well, you know, turnovers become such a big part of this game, and we were able to ignite on that. The game actually is much closer than what the score indicates, so we're going to need to really play well in the second half. But certainly to be up by 2 touchdowns, good position right now.
How do you enforce that to this team being up by 2 touchdowns that it's still closer than it seems?
Well, I think a lot of it just comes with maturity, and our guys understand they really got to play hard for the next 30 minutes to secure a 3rd national championship.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Anish?
North Dakota State 30 minutes away from a 3rd straight championship. Towson, like they've done in their last 2 games, will have to come back again. Let's go to the studio for halftime and Chris Cotter. You look at what Towson has done in this postseason. In the quarterfinals against Eastern Illinois, the Tigers trailed 14-0, and Eastern Illinois had Jimmy Garoppolo, the Peyton Award winner. That's the Heisman of the FCS. Towson came back to win that game. And you want to point to something. Defensively, Towson has done a pretty good job against North Dakota State. All the Bison scores have come with a short field. Towson to receive to start the second half. And the Bison kicking with the win, so North Dakota State will start from its, Towson will start from its own 25-yard line.
And Towson's defense has actually played pretty well. North Dakota State hasn't had the football very long because they didn't need to have it. They've had really good field position when they scored the football. The 3 times they did not score the football, they actually had more yards to cover, and it's the game that we really expected. The defenses right now have actually played pretty well.
Peter Athens, 8 of 14, 90 yards, and an interception in the first half for Towson. Athens hands it off to Terrence West. He's got a hole, and West takes it across the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 18, and West up to 84 yards rushing in this contest.
And Sam Evans, the freshman up front with those wily veterans, pulls and gets out front. And then 28 West just gets downhill. And that's the power running game, or sometimes they call it a G game, where it's just the guard pulling as opposed to 2 pullers like it was on that play.
Right back to West, and he's to the 45, a gain of 2. West, 14 yards from 100. North Dakota State has only given up 3 100-yard games this season to opposing rushers. And in fact, the Bison have faced the number 2 and number 3 rushers in the FCS. They shut down Zach Zenner of South Dakota State, and they shut down tall fellow from Coastal Carolina. No gain for West. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And North Dakota State defensively does what they call keeping the cup. And what that means defensively up front is you want to anchor at the defensive tackle positions and set the edges with your defensive ends. And you have to do that against this prolific power run game for Towson.
Darius Victor in on 3rd down. Victor in there to block. Athens throws. Good coverage that time. That was C.J. Smith blanketing the freshman Andre Dessenberg.
C.J. Smith had the big interception in the first half, and very good coverage on that particular play. And C.J. Smith has really had to grow up this year. Marcus Williams is a tremendous corner on the opposite side. Teams tend to go away from him. C.J. Smith has had to grow up in a hurry.
Jake Ryder on to punt. Ryan Smith waits at his own 19. Smith lets it bounce. Rolls inside the 15. And Towson will down it after a 43-yard punt. Well, North Dakota State, when it's had to go the length of the field, hasn't been able to do much. Their 3 non-scoring drives, the Bison have started at their own 24-yard line on average. The 3 scoring drives, the average start has been the Towson 34-yard line. This Towson defense has more than held its own against the North Dakota State offense that had put up at least 500 yards of total offense in every postseason game this year. And movement up front as flags fly.
46 offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Second false start penalty on Andrew Bonnet, who serves as the backup fullback and sometimes the second tight end.
And that field position graphic is certainly insightful. And remember, the field position for this Bison offense was established by the blocked field goal and the interception.
Yep.
So that made the going pretty easy. But you're right, Towson has played really well on the defensive side for the most part.
Pistol look here for the Bison. Low snap. There's Crockett. Met right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard. Second down.
Arnold Farmer, the defensive tackle inside, is a massive man at 6'1", 325 pounds. He anchors the run inside, and then Ryan Dallaire, the defensive end, is really kind of the hybrid linebacker defensive end type guy. He was in on that play as well. They morphed between kind of a 3-man defensive line and a 4-man defensive line, and the pivot guy is number 56, Ryan Dallaire.
Dallaire, 11.5 sacks, tied for 3rd in the nation. He's lined up on the far side of the D-line. Jensen's got an open receiver, and that's caught by Vraw. A 19-yard pickup and a Bison first down.
Vraw was matched up on Killy Lee on that particular play. Very good catch at the end. And that's what Vraw does. Runs great routes, and he finishes with impeccable ball skills.
Vraw, a 1,000-yard receiver. He's got a touchdown catch in this game. Bonnet in motion. The give is to Crockett, dragging tacklers across midfield, and finally brought down into Towson territory. A 28-yard pickup for John Crockett, who's picking up right where he left off in the semifinal.
And Telvin Clark, number 13, watch him jump outside right there. He jumps outside and takes on the fullback Grothman on the outside shoulder, and he gives up his gap. You can see right there, he should have taken the inside shoulder of that fullback and forced the running back Crockett outside.
Crockett had 195 yards in the semifinal win against New Hampshire. That was a career high. 3-step drop, Jensen to the air, great throw, great catch by Vraw. Julian Kelly Lee on the coverage, and that was just a tremendous throw with the receiver and quarterback in sync.
They've thrown a lot together, have Jensen and Vraw, and the back shoulder throw on Killy Lee. Remember, Killy Lee is getting his first start because Jordan Love was suspended for this game. Love is a Georgia transfer, a ton of speed. That's a tough assignment for Killy Lee.
Vraw now the school's all-time single-season leader in receiving yards after that last catch. On the ground here on first down, and a short gain for Crockett, tackled by Monte Gaddis, the Maryland transfer. And Vraw in this game, 3 catches, 51 yards. Single season record holder for touchdown catches and receiving yards. Had a TD grab in that first half.
And a very good all-around receiver, and certainly the go-to guy for Brock Jensen. 4.5 speed. He doesn't look like he runs fast. He's kind of spindly, but he gets downfield in a hurry.
Play action. Jensen finds Ryan Smith, escapes one defender. Smith gets inside the 10-yard line, finally tackled by Gaddis. A 16-yard pickup. It's going to be 1st and goal.
Well, head coach for Towson, Ambrose said we have to tackle well. You can see right there. He should be tackled for essentially no gain. The missed tackle turns into a lot of yards after the catch.
Alexander DeSanzo, the sixth-year senior, whiffed on the initial pursuit. Crockett now gives it up to Vraw. On the reverse, Vraw gets right back to the line of scrimmage, second down and goal.
The fullback, Andrew Grothman, was outside, and he had to maintain a block out on the edge for a long time. If he just seals his guy outside, running back just walks into the end zone that particular play. It was actually Vraw on the reverse. Very well blocked, except for Grothman out on the edge.
Vraw on the sidelines here on second and goal. Smith lined up in the slot. Jensen's going to keep this. And Brock Jensen into the touchdown. And the Bison with a 27-7 lead.
Brock Jensen doesn't run with it much, but when he does, he's quite sneaky. Dallaire actually has the quarterback on that quarterback zone read, and Dallaire just falls asleep. He works upfield, forgets about 16. Brock Jensen stepping up inside. Kind of a sneaky runner, and it's timely. They don't run him much, but when they do, it's usually very effective.
Jensen ran for 3 rushing touchdowns in the title game last year. That was his 10th rushing touchdown of the season this year. Point after is good, and North Dakota State with a 3-score lead. 9:09 to go here in the third. When we come back, we'll hear from a Heisman Trophy winner who's with Kara Capuano. 21 unanswered points by the Bison of North Dakota State, and they've got a 3-touchdown lead. We go down to the field in Kara Capuano.
I'm with Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown, the FCS ambassador for the championship game this year. What have you seen so far? It started closely contested, but the Bison have kind of run away a bit.
Yeah, you know, this Bison team is unbelievable. You know, it's a close game for about a quarter and a half, and all of a sudden, a couple turnovers, and now we have, unfortunately, a blowout. But great football was played early in the game, no doubt about it.
What have your roles this week included, Tim?
You know, I had a chance to speak to both teams yesterday at the luncheon, and today I've been out hanging out with the fans and just doing a lot of fun stuff. But it's been a great experience for me. Been a Dallas boy, been, you know, a local kid. It's been great.
I've got one more question for you, but let's throw it back up to Anish for the kickoff here.
All right, thanks, Carol. We'll get you back down there. Kelly Stouffer, I know Tim Brown, a contemporary of yours when you played for the Seahawks, the Raiders. Back then, Seahawks and Raiders, that was the same division, the AFC West.
We don't really need to mention any of that stuff. He tore us up.
Kelly says Tim tore up his Seahawks. Kara?
Kelly Stouffer, our analyst, said that you tore up the Seahawks back when you guys were division rivals. But really quickly, Tim, put into perspective, if the Bison hang on and win a 3rd straight national championship, how does that rate compared to other achievements?
Well, you know, you have to rank it right up there. I mean, it's very difficult to do. You get new kids in every year, and for them to come back 3 years in a row and win a championship, it's unbelievable, really.
Thanks for the time,
Thank
Tim.
you. Appreciate you, Carl.
Anish?
Thank you, Kara. Tim Brown winning the Heisman at Notre Dame. Went on to a great pro career as well. 28-7. Towson, they've been down this postseason before. Do they have another comeback in them? Athens off play action. Open receiver, Joseph, along the near sideline, and he's out of bounds to the 45, a gain of 20. And here's the question now, Kelly. The running game has been so good for Towson. Even when they've been down, they've stayed with it. How much longer can you stay with it with, you know, time ticking? There's a sense of urgency being down 3 scores.
Yeah, and it's not only the clock running, as you talked about, Anish, but it's the North Dakota State Bison defense, the #1 defense in all the land, and they're very tough to get anything against. You probably have to start putting it there more often than not now.
They'll try Terrence West. Takes a couple always to get him down. One guy's got to hit him to slow him, and then it was Carlton Littlejohn who makes the tackle after a gain of 4. Comebacks have been nothing new for Towson at Stony Brook, New Hampshire, Albany, William and Mary, James Madison, Eastern Illinois. In the semifinals against Eastern Washington, Towson trailed by 10 with less than 6 minutes to play, and down to their backup quarterback, the Tigers were able to rally for a win and get to Frisco in the championship. West stopped at the 50, flag on the play.
This might be Charles Johnson, number 57, was the pulling guard, and I think he got his hands on the defender's face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, right tackle, 15 yards from the previous spot, and still second down.
And penalties have been a killer for Towson today. That is the 8th penalty against the Tigers.
And that's the thing with the run game, Anish, is not only getting behind in the game, but getting behind schedule on a drive. That hurt them in the first half, and they have to stay ahead of schedule or on schedule offensively. Remember, their pass game is primarily a play-action pass game off of that established physical run game.
Can't fool anybody with play action on 2nd and 21. West out of the backfield. West dragging a couple of tacklers across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Give him 9, so 3rd down and about 12 to go for the Tigers.
And not a bad maintenance play by Peter Athens. Soft coverage by the Bison on the back end and dumped it off to the guy that you want to touch the ball anyway, 28 Terrence West. West
finished 3rd in the voting for the Peyton Award. That goes to the best offensive player in the FCS.
Peter Athens is down here now in the slaughter. Actually, that's Connor Frazier.
Athens in trouble, down he goes. Ryan Drevlo gets credit for the sack. The field may have had something to do with it.
Drevlo coming from that nose tackle position, getting the pressure up inside. You can see him coming right off the center. Doug Shaw beats him outside and gets to the quarterback.
So Towson forced to punt, 4th and 23. Fair catch call by Smith. And he makes it at the 36-yard line. A 33-yard punt, no return. North Dakota State rolling. 3 straight trips to the championship game. North Dakota State on this list. Appalachian State, the only FCS school to win 3 consecutive titles. And Jerry Moore, the head coach for Appalachian State, actually spoke to this North Dakota State before the season. And the Bison, when outlining their team goals, they had 3 of them. Win the conference, they won the Missouri Valley, win a championship, and go perfect. 2 and 3, pretty close to being knocked off if North Dakota State can finish it. Here's Sam O'Jury, first team all-conference running back, using the stiff arm. He gets free. And O'Jury into Towson territory. It's a gain of 17 yards. For North Dakota State head coach Craig Bohl, he is coaching his final game with the Bison. He accepted the head coaching job at Wyoming. A lot of this staff will make the trip to Laramie. Defensive coordinator Chris Kleiman will be the next head coach at North Dakota State. Back to O'Jury, breaks free, still on his feet. Sam O'Jury brought down at the 10-yard line. Christian Carpenter with a touchdown saving tackle, but it's a 37-yard pickup.
North Dakota State's power run game is just getting downhill. You can see that offensive line just simply getting a hat on a hat, getting great fits up front, and this is kind of the vice that North Dakota State puts you in. They get up and then they just grind it on you, and you're seeing it right now. Ujiri is that guy that's a little more explosive at the running back position. We saw that on the last 2 carries.
Both Bison running backs, Ujiri and Crockett, north of 1,000 yards on the season. Back to Ujiri. And that time he's tripped up right at the line of scrimmage. Telvin Clark, first team all-conference linebacker, makes the stop.
And Tyler Gimmelstead, the right guard, pulled on that last play in what we call a G series. You have a fullback and then you have a guard, which stands for the G, getting up in that point of attack as well. And then you have the power game where you actually pull 2 offensive linemen and relocate to the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, and that's what North Dakota State is doing currently.
Play action on second down underneath. That's Bonnet, and he's met immediately by Ty Smith. So 3rd and goal coming up. No gain on the play.
Ryan Dallaire from his defensive end position on that boot where Brock Jensen was trying to get outside, and Dallaire just laid the wood to him.
Down here, you got to be wary of the tight end, 85, Kevin Vodland. Gets a lot of his touchdowns in the 10-yard range. Jensen throws over the middle. That's caught by Smith. Smith stood up shy of the goal line. 4th down coming up for the Bison.
North Dakota State's offensive line is already begging to stay on the field, and that's exactly what Craig Bohl is going to allow them to do. I think this is the opportunity Craig Bohl sees to somewhat put this game away, or certainly make it much more difficult for Towson to come back in this game today.
On 4th down this season, North Dakota State 12 of 17. Ujiri, the deep back. Let's see if they try that right side with big Billy Turner anchoring the line. Ujiri's going to try to run behind Turner, and he's been stopped. That's a big hold by this Towson defense. The Tigers come up with a 4th down stop, and Towson still has a pulse with 2:57 to go in the 3rd. Towson pinned at its own 1-yard line. 99 to go, down 3 scores, late 3rd quarter, FCS championship game. Terrence West stopped right at the line of scrimmage, 2nd down and 10.
Let's take a look at that last stop. This is actually a guard right here that's at fullback, Tyler Gimmelstead. He's going to get up inside, and angles and inches make a big difference. The running back actually just needs to stay a little bit more outside. That's where that big guard become fullback got a little bit more push, and Ujiri just bleeds inside a little bit and just doesn't finish it off. Angles and inches in tight spaces on the goal line are the key.
Right now there's an injured North Dakota State player being attended to. That's 93, Cole Jurek. He's had issues with his shoulder the last couple of seasons. In fact, got a couple of braces to keep those shoulders together. A 3-year starter, part of an experienced defensive line. Both DNs are 3-year starters, and the 2 D tackles, Levon Perry and Ryan Drevlo, 4-year starters.
Yeah, experience on the line of scrimmage offensively, or in this case defensively, makes a huge difference.
West spins away from trouble, and he lost a yard, so 3rd down coming up.
Terrence West barely got out of the end zone, and North Dakota State's defense obviously knows that they want to run the football down here. You can see Anthony Davis, the guard, is pulling and try to create some room, but West was fortunate to get out of the end zone right there.
One thing you got to be wary of, if they don't get a 1st down here and you have to punt, down 3 scores, the way North Dakota State can chew up clock. Towson might not get it back 3 more times.
That is a great point. I totally agree with you.
Here's West. He'll try the outside, hurdles over Hegel, and West at least gives the punter a little bit of breathing room as he picks up 6. And with that run, Terrence West has crossed the 2,500-yard mark for the season.
And that was all about West right there. I mean, there wasn't anything to get, and good running backs create their own yards, and number 28 did it on that play.
Well, they've got Connor Frazier back deep. He's the quarterback, the backup quarterback, and also a wide receiver. So Towson might be up to something here. Frazier will kick it, and that goes out of bounds inside the Towson 35, marked out at the 31. Kelly, if you're going to punt it, why not use the punter?
You know, that was one of those things I think they trust Frazier back there with the football maybe more than they do their punter. That was really interesting.
For a full recap of all fall football championships, visit NCAA.com. You can also get up to speed with previews and the latest news on the upcoming winter championships. Log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. Play action. Jensen for Vraw, and it's too far, incomplete. 2nd down and 10. You get the sense North Dakota State looking for that final haymaker to end this.
Yeah, in the short field, they certainly were wanting to hit a big play right there. And when North Dakota State has possessed the football for a little longer in this second half, their run game has really got on track. 18 carries, 164 yards, over 9 yards a carry. So in the first half, it didn't really look that good. They just simply didn't have enough plays to get it going.
Here's Crockett, who's been averaging better than 10 yards a carry. And Crockett picks up just about 10. It'll bring up first down. He got just enough for the first down. So Crockett moves the chains for North Dakota State and limps off gingerly after the run.
And the guard, Zach Johnson, number 66, was pulling out in front of that play. And it's one thing to try to relocate offensive linemen. It's a far another matter for those offensive linemen to sort things out on the edge and square up. And this North Dakota State team is really, really efficient at doing just that.
Play action. Here's Bonnet. Over one defender, and Bonnet is going to be marked a yard shy of the first down. A gain of 9 yards on the play. 2nd and 1, and that should be the final play of this third quarter. North Dakota State and Towson, at one point this was a 7-7 game. 21 unanswered for the Bison. North Dakota State 15 minutes away from a 3rd straight title. Anish Shroff, Kelly Stumper, Kara Capuano. The game turned here. 2nd quarter, Towson's field goal block. Kyle Emanuel picks it up, takes it down to the Tiger 5-yard line. That led to a North Dakota State touchdown. Then a C.J. Smith interception late in the first half led to another North Dakota State touchdown. Brock Jensen running it in, 21 unanswered points. And the Bison looking for more in the red zone as we start the 4th quarter. Here's John Crockett. And Crockett dives to the 14, or rather the 9-yard line. It's a gain of 3. A first down for the Bison, 1st and goal. First quarter, North Dakota State 69 yards, 65 in the second, and then the offense came to life in the 3rd.
Yeah, and they possessed the ball more in this second half, so that 3rd quarter has taken off when that Bison run game started going downhill with more looks up front by that offensive line.
Here's Sam Ojuri. Ran into his fullback, Grothman, got spun around, and he takes it to the 6-yard line. 2nd and goal.
And the nature of what North Dakota State does, defensively as well, but certainly offensively, is they just wear on you. Towson really hasn't had the opportunity to do that much in the second half because North Dakota State has possessed it through their run game.
North Dakota State averaging almost 8 yards per play. Now the Bison leading the play clock a little bit. Ojuri up the gut. Falls backward to the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal coming up.
And Anish, you talked about bleeding the play clock, and that's one of the things I noticed about Brock Jensen, even in the first half, is he gets that play clock a lot of times under 5 seconds. I mean, you talk about managing a game, which every quarterback needs to manage situational points and times in the game. Right now, the clock is your friend. You want to bleed it if you're North Dakota State as much as you can.
Ojuri, the deep back, 3rd and goal from the 1. And again, that play clock under 10 seconds. Jensen gives to Ojuri, and he's into the end zone. Tenth rushing touchdown of the season for the senior Sam Ojuri. And that is now 27 unanswered points from the Bison of North Dakota State. Adam Keller, who has 4 toes on his kicking foot, on for the point after. The pendulum swung toward North Dakota State in that second quarter, and it has not swung back. North Dakota State, their fans have come en masse to Frisco, Texas, and the Bison a little more than 13 minutes away from celebrating a 3rd consecutive FCS championship. Craig Bowl, Wyoming bound. He'll be the Cowboys' next head coach, taking a lot of the staff with him. 35-7, the Bison have scored 28 unanswered points. Ryan Dowling from his own 2. And Dowling tripped up as he crosses the 15-yard line. Sunday on ESPN, it's the MAC against the Sun Belt. Ball State, Arkansas State in the GoDaddy Bowl that comes your way Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This could very well be Terrence West's final game for Towson. There's some talk he could turn pro after his junior season. West has set the FCS single-season record for rushing yards and total touchdowns. Peter Athens to the air, finds Andre Dessenberg at the 31-yard line. It's a first down for the Tigers.
And certainly Towson needs to put the ball in the air right here, and this isn't exactly their wheelhouse, but I think Peter Athens is greatly underrated as a passer. Very good presence in the pocket, very good arm.
Athens back to the air. That's caught again by Dessenberg, that time far sideline. We mentioned this could be West's final game. Here's a kid who almost by chance ended up at Towson. Clemson was recruiting him, interested, never offered a scholarship. He tried to walk on at Maryland. Then Ralph Friedgen was fired, and that never panned out. And a whistle blows before the play. There's a flag.
Ball start. Offense number 2. 5 yards. Still second down.
That's Derek Joseph. Going back to Terrence West. The Maryland situation didn't work out. He tried to walk on at Morgan State. Paperwork issue. So he was selling shoes for a while before finally walking on to Towson. And since he walked on to the Tigers, this program has taken off. Here's the blitz. Athens throws. Joseph hauls it in. Spun around by C.J. Smith. It's a gain of about 8. Carroll with more on Terrence West.
Guys, we asked Rob Ambrose about Terrence West, and he said the best part of this running back is that he comes from a really tough neighborhood in Baltimore. He knew he needed to focus on his academics, and he's going back to where he's from to try to make a difference in the community and send that message to others.
Bison bringing pressure, incomplete, intended for Dowling. 2nd down and 10.
And I think his skill set translates really well at the next level, and you wonder why a kid in the FCS level would come out early, but this is a Division I FBS player right here. He does so many things extremely well, and the wear and tear on a running back's body is one reason I think you make an exception to jump early to the next level.
Athens over the middle, threads that one in. A gain of 7 yards. It's Connor Frazier on the catch. You know, to your point, Kelly, West has been called the best running back prospect at the FCS level since Brian Westbrook at Villanova. And West said he'll address his future plans after this game. Towson still holding on to a thread of hope here. Athens back to Frazier, and he's across midfield.
And you can see Peter Athens in this situation, is his throwing ability. He's very accurate, actually has a pretty compact release as well. They haven't needed to do this type of thing very often because they have a guy named Terrence West in the backfield with it. I think Randall Harris, number 62, the right tackle, jumped that particular time.
Prior to snap, false start, offense, 62, 5 yards, still 1st down.
That was Harris. And, you know, we talk about West's odyssey. Peter Athens has had quite the journey at Towson. He started his first 6 games as a true freshman in 2009, tore his ACL, missed all of 2010 recovering. Meanwhile, Towson finds another quarterback in Grant Elders, so when Athens is ready to go in 2011, he's a backup. Saw action in just 1 game in 2012, and now in the FCS championship game. Screen pass to West, who's run out of bounds at the 40 by Carlton Littlejohn.
There you see another aspect of what Terrence West brings to the table, the timing, to know how to set up the screen well. You don't get out early and you don't want to be late. A screen needs to be on time, and Terrence West just has a feel of the game of football. He also pass protects very well, so they will certainly like that at the next level.
Athens to Dowling, and a nice grab by the UMass transfer. It's a 1st down for the Tigers.
And not only a tremendous catch, but how about keeping a foot in bounds? That ball was quickly taking Dowling out of bounds. Watch a quick release by Athens here. Boom, that ball is gone with some smoke on it. The awareness by Dowling at the other end to get 1 foot down.
Athens to Frazier. And Connor Frazier, the hero of the semifinal win against Eastern Washington, picks up 14. It was Frazier who ran for the game-winning score with 17 seconds left in regulation against the Eagles up in Cheney. And Frazier played the entire 2nd half as the quarterback. Cole Jurek back down on the field for North Dakota State. Will step aside with 10:21 to go in regulation. BCS Megacast allows you to watch the BCS Championship 8 different ways. You can watch the game on ESPN, on ESPN2 BCS Title Talk, ESPN News, BCS Film Room. Goal Line is your command center. ESPN Classic gives you all the sideline sounds of the game. And then on ESPN3, we've got the Spider Camp, Campus Connection, and hometown radio calls.
Wow.
Tenth play of the drive for Towson, which hasn't scored. since the final play of the first quarter. That's floated up. It's caught by Brian Shepard, but he was out of bounds, so it's 2nd down and 10. So no interception.
And North Dakota State is bringing heat, not only because they know Towson has to throw the football, but particularly on the drive and they get into the red zone here, the pressure certainly increases on the quarterback.
This Bison defense, 2nd nationally in total defense. 1st against the run, top 10 against the pass. Athens under pressure. Incomplete, intended for West. 3rd down and 10.
Ryan Drevlo that time from his defensive tackle position. That's the 2nd time Drevlo's gotten fairly quick pressure onto the quarterback Athens.
Rob Ambrose looking on. What a job he's done turning this program around. In 2010, they won 1 game. In 2011, they made the playoffs. Ambrose, the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year winner. Here's the pressure. Athens. That's caught by Frazier somehow. And he's finally brought down by Brendan Pierre. A gain of 7.
How about Connor Frazier? Had the game-winning drive 2 weeks ago in the semis as the quarterback, and then makes a spectacular catch right there. Snatches the football in very tight coverage.
Easy call here on 4th and 2 to go for it. Here's the blitz. Athens for the end zone. Incomplete. Frazier was the intended target. The Bison get it back with 9:22 to go. Their fans can sense it. North Dakota State is looking to join Appalachian State as the only team to win 3 consecutive FCS titles. App State did it from 2005 to 2007. In 06, Kevin Richardson was the MVP. 07, Armonte Edwards threw for 3 scores. App State beat Delaware for its 3rd straight title. And North Dakota State on the verge of joining that list. Youngstown State, Jim Tressel led the team to 4 titles in the 90s, and Georgia Southern has won 6 FCS titles. They went back-to-back 3 different times. Sam O'Jury uses the stiff arm. There is a flag way back at the 14-yard line as O'Jury gets out close to the 40.
Personal foul, number 86, lined up outside of tackle, blocked back below the waist. That's half the distance to the goal. Replay 1st down.
Backup tight end Taylor Nelson flagged. Brock Jensen and North Dakota State on the verge. Craig Bohl looking on, I'm sure he's trying not to think about it. These are his final minutes as the head coach of the Bison. He's been more than just the head coach. He's become really a popular figure in that Fargo community, and some of the fan base has rallied around for the past decade plus.
Number 22, Sam
O'Jury with a pickup of 9.
Stop made by number 13, Telvian Clark. Gain of 7.
Craig Bohl, 3-time Conference Coach of the Year, looking to lead North Dakota State to a 3rd straight national championship. On December 8th, he was hired as Wyoming's head coach, and that's probably been one of the most impressive things about this postseason run for the Bison. A lot of distractions that could have been an excuse for a slip-up with the coaching change on the horizon. Chris Kleiman, the defensive coordinator, will take over as the head coach. But this team's focus has been laser sharp, and their postseason run has been nothing short of dominant.
And I think really for 2 reasons. I think the way the coaching staff handled it was big time, because Craig Bohl talked about, you know, his experience with Tom Osborne and Frank Solich at Nebraska when Tom Osborne was resigning and wasn't going to coach anymore. It was a smooth transition to Frank Solich. That was kind of his template for the way he wanted to do things, and passing the baton to Chris Kleiman, and it worked extremely well. But also 24 seniors really set the tone for the way this thing was going to go down the stretch.
On 3rd and 7, Jensen will keep it. And Jensen picks up a first down. Let's go down to Kara.
Just more on Craig Bohl and what he learned from Tom Osborne on how to have success. Number one, know who you are. Number two, play to your strengths. He said that the Bison, his goals have always been to be physical, be balanced, be disciplined. Some things will change in football, but he, like Tom Osborne, always hung on to the things that don't change.
Yeah, Craig Bohl, in speaking to him a few times getting ready for this game, he mentions Tom Osborne and rarefied air and the influence that Osborne had on him as a person and a coach.
And he actually reminds me dispositionally a little bit of Tom Osborne, that ability to be ultra intense but always poised. That's what you see out of Craig Bohl. And the interesting thing would be to see, you know, he's laid an amazing foundation in Fargo. Obviously, they're going to have their 3rd national championship in a row. So can Chris Kleiman keep that going? That's going to be interesting to keep our eye on.
Yeah, Kleiman currently the defensive coordinator, but he's been handling a lot of head coaching duties behind the scenes. He's in the process of putting a staff together. He's had to maintain the relationships with a lot of recruits as O'Jury picks up a couple. And I thought, you know, a couple of weeks ago when we were over in Fargo for the semifinal game, Cara Capuano, she asked Chris Kleiman a very good question. What's your stamp going to be on the team? And Coach Kleiman didn't have an answer for it. Continuity might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You might not need your own stamp given the template that's in place that Craig Bohl put in over the last decade plus.
And that certainly will be easy to do on the defensive side.
Sure.
You know, he's the defensive coordinator now, becoming head coach, but it's the offensive side. And it's all about recruiting. Their template for recruiting, and recruiting the Dakotas along with Minnesota and Wisconsin, they always think they can get blue-collar defensive and offensive linemen, running backs and linebackers. That's the foundation for the way they play football in Fargo currently.
4th down coming up for North Dakota State as the Bison closing in on a 3rd straight FCS championship. Kleiman's going to start hiring assistants as soon as tomorrow. Craig Bohl taking most of his North Dakota State staff with him to Wyoming. Good punt by LeCompte. Dowling lets it bounce. And you can tell there's almost an air of resignation on that Towson sideline.
In some ways, that punt right there by LeCompte kind of frames this entire game.
A 66-yard boot by LeCompte. Towson pinned inside its own 5-yard line.
The NCAA FCS Championship game is presented by Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official corporate partner of the NCAA, and in part by DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
We take a look at today's Reese's Perfect Play, and this was the turning point in the game. A 7-7 game, Towson going for the lead. A blocked field goal. Colton Hegel had the block. Kyle Emanuel picks it up, brings it down to the 5-yard line, and then Ryan Smith on the sweep goes in for the touchdown. 14-7 North Dakota State, and the Bison have not looked back. On the ground to Terrence West. He gets 3 on forward progress. We remind you, after the game on ESPN3, it's post-game coverage for today's FCS championship game. The trophy presentation plus interviews with the winning coach and the key players. You can watch it all on ESPN3 following the game. It's presented by Capital One. On 2nd and 7. Athens from his own end zone, underneath to West. West using the stiff arm, and Terrence West run out of bounds after a gain of about 6, 3rd and short.
The thing that's so impressive, Anish, about North Dakota State in this run is they do so many kind of hidden things well, as champions do. They play so clean. I mean, their offense didn't turn the ball over. They did have a drop pass. Jensen hasn't gotten sacked. Their run game's efficient, and their defense just doesn't allow you to extend drives. But the window of opportunity against a champion is just so small. It makes you play so efficiently. And Towson did for a while, but couldn't finish.
Towson, first charge, timeout. The timeout will be 30 seconds.
Rob Ambrose calls a timeout, 4th and 1 for the Tigers. When you look at the entire context of Towson's season, no shame in losing to what is an all-time team. This North Dakota State team, 3 straight championships and a perfect season to cap the three-peat. But what Rob Ambrose has done at Towson, this was a nothing program when he got there. 3 wins in his first 2 years. Now they've become a power in the Colonial, and they have staying power. This team is not going away. Rob Ambrose has built a program. He's put a foundation in place. And talking to him last night, he said one of the things he's going to do after the game, win or lose, approach Craig Bohl, pick his brain a little bit on building a program and what you have to do to get a foundation in place. On 4th down, Towson up the gut, and Athens gets the first down. Towson set a school record with 13 wins this season. Opened the year with a win against UConn, first ever win against an FBS school. And Terrence West has had an all-time season as Derek Joseph picks up 5.
Now, one of the nuggets that I heard this week in preparing for this game came from Craig Bohl about Rob Ambrose, and he said, you know what? I knew I would like him before I ever met him because of the way his team plays. And the way his team plays is repeatable. You know, it's a very physical style on offense, ball security, and then a stingy defense that creates negative plays. I mean, that travels really well, and that's exactly what prompted this run deep into the playoffs and has them here in this game today.
This was a team that was 9-0 on the road this season as Athens picks up a first down. Blitz coming. Athens goes down. Levon Perry with this sack. Perry had a fumble return for a touchdown in the semifinal win against New Hampshire.
We talked about North Dakota State's defense comes in as the best defense at the FCS level. They don't allow you to run the football.
North Dakota State.
Towson needed to run it and couldn't run it effectively.
Charge timeout. The timeout will be 30 seconds.
Only 3 times this season.
Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining.
Was Terrence West held under 100 yards. North Dakota State had only given up 3 100-yard rushers all season. If you're wondering where that stands, West is at 99. ACC basketball next here on ESPN2, Virginia and Florida State. All the post-game festivities can be seen on ESPN3. Grant Olson into the game, and yes, a victory bath for Craig Bohl. These fans get it. Some of the smartest and brightest and most passionate in all of college football. As chance of three-peat start cascading from the stands. Dessenberg takes it across the 30-yard line. North Dakota State will join Appalachian State as the only schools to win 3 consecutive FCS championships. Craig Bohl really built this North Dakota State program up. Attendance at the Fargo Dome at an all-time high. And as you can see, these fans, they made the trip. It's about 1,100 miles from Fargo to Frisco.
And they're not only motivated to travel like that, but they're well educated. We saw that in the Fargo game a couple of weeks ago. Is
they impact the game.
No doubt about it. That is a tremendous home field advantage, but it's been an advantage for North Dakota State here today. This following has been very loud when they've needed to be loud.
Their MO at the Fargo Dome is to make a lot of noise when the other team has the ball, and they are dead silent when North Dakota State has the ball, as Joseph remains on his feet and finally brought down at the 49, a gain of 17. Towson not giving up, playing to the final whistle. Again, 1:45 to go in regulation. Complete post-game coverage on ESPN3. When we spoke to Craig Bull a few weeks ago, we asked him how this Bison team stacked up against the last two, and he said the last two they won. So until this team won a championship, that would be the ultimate measuring stick. But he said this was the most talented team he's had since coming to Fargo as the new head coach, Chris Kleiman, gets, I guess, what would be an introductory victory shower.
He hopes he's getting that next year about this time.
There's Terrence West. And he's brought down from his ankles, a gain of 5. Towson has actually outgained in North Dakota State for what it's worth, but a couple of key plays, a block kick, and an interception late in the first half swung this game. Tigers, this will be their 74th play. The Bison have run just 48. Here's Frazier. Moves to the 30, a gain of 7. Kelly, this North Dakota State team, we're talking an all-time team at the FCS level.
Without a doubt about it, and that's the challenge for Kleiman. It's that 3 national championships in a row, but then you lose essentially the entire coaching staff. You retain 1 coach, but you also lose the 24 seniors that have been the core of the run that you're just finishing right here this afternoon.
To give you an idea how dominant this Bison team has been in this postseason, if the final score holds as it is right now, this would be the closest game North Dakota State has played in these FCS playoffs. Wins of 31, 34, and 38 in the 3 preceding rounds. First career catch, or first catch of the season, and also the first career catch for Sean Mooney, getting to start at tight end for the suspended James Obo. Towson continuing to go in the final 20 seconds. Here's the pressure. Athens down the sideline, and that's broken up by Zach Colvin. 2nd and 10. A lot of emotions on that Bison sideline, starting to bubble. 24 seniors, a head coach, and most of the coaching staff on its way to Laramie and Wyoming. 16 seconds away from a three-peat. West spins away. He's still fighting and driven out at the 20-yard line. Brock Jensen, the winningest quarterback in FCS history. He'll punctuate his career with a 3rd straight national championship. 6 seconds left. Those eyes have got to be welling up. Athens to the air. And time runs out. North Dakota State has won its 3rd straight FCS championship.